Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It is Christian here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So today it is Friday, and on Friday I test out a new foundation every single week. So today's foundation is going to be by Stila. It is the Stila All Day Cover Powder Finish Foundation and Cream Concealer. And it is, of course, a stick foundation, but the cool thing about this foundation is it also has a concealer built into the lid. Again, we're going to be putting this guy to the test. If you are not familiar with Foundation Friday, basically Foundation Friday is where every single Friday I test out a foundation that is brand new to the market. So basically what I do is I wear the foundation throughout the entire day. I check in a couple of times throughout the day. I let you know how the foundation is wearing, what I think about the foundation, and if I would recommend it. I let you know that at the end of the night. Of course, this is a complete first impressions. So there have been times where with first wear I'm in love with the foundation, and then the second, third, fourth time I try it, I absolutely hate it. And then there have been times where I dislike a foundation and then I wear it, you know, more and more and more, and I learn to kind of love it. So keep that in mind. It is just a first impressions. I do have more dry combination skin. It is definitely a little bit oily right here in my nose, but the rest of my skin for the most part is pretty dry. Now there are certain foundations, especially because I go in with a lot of oils and a lot of hydration on my skin, there are certain foundations that can make me look exceptionally oily, especially in the T-zone. So if you are interested in this style of video, then of course you are in the right place. But before we get into the video, I just want to say that if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you do not mind, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. I do post 5 videos a week here on my channel, Monday through Friday, and I have a little bit of everything. I just started dabbling in fashion. I do a lot of first impressions. I do a lot of hauls, reviews, and things like that here on my channel. So if that sounds like something that you would be into, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you are not new to my channel, welcome back. Thank you for continuing to join and support. And yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and see how this new Stila foundation is going to wear throughout the day. Alright guys, so today we're going to be trying out the new Stila Stick Foundation, and it is called the Stay All Day Cover Powder Finish Foundation and Cream Concealer. So a pretty long name. It does come with a 0.48 ounces or 13.6 grams of product. And this is what the packaging looks like. And like I mentioned, it is a stick foundation. The packaging is actually pretty nice. I like the gold detailing. And, oh, when I purchased this, I didn't even know. It looks like it has a concealer on top. The concealer looks like it might be a little bit dark for me. So I did pick mine up in the shade Light 3, and it does retail for $36. It does come in 16 different shades that do range from Zero Porcelain up to Espresso number 15. And like I mentioned, I got mine in the shade Light 3. This is an Ulta exclusive, so it can only be purchased at Ulta.com or on Ulta's website. So let me go ahead and read the claims for you. And as of right now, out of 28 reviews on Ulta's website, there are 4 stars at the moment. It says, this Stay All Day foundation and concealer coverage you love, now in perfectly portable stick form. Creamy, weightless texture glides effortlessly, blends seamlessly, and dries to a soft powder finish. Includes a perfectly paired under eye concealer in the cap to neutralize under eye circles and hide imperfection. I didn't even realize, so the fact that you get a little bit of concealer in there is actually pretty cool. How much you actually get in the concealer versus the foundation. Oh yeah, the foundation was the 0.48 and the concealer was 0.04 ounces. And the claims on the box are a little bit different. So it says long wear, high definition, it's lightweight, medium to full buildable coverage foundation with a matte powdery soft finish. It says that the foundation is specifically formulated with our Clay Youth Revival bioavailable mineral complexion, a property blend of 15 vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Peach undertones in the concealer neutralize imperfections. It is also oil-free and fragrance-free. So of course, the stick foundations always have that little protective top when you first open it. And it looks like it might be, that is the color we picked out. It's blended in. Okay, so it looks like it might be a pretty good color match. I think I'm finally getting this whole ordering foundations online color match down. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do, because I have not done that yet, I have moisturized, and I have applied my oils for the day, but I do need to go in with my primer. So today I'm going to be sticking with the Dior Pore Minimizer Skin Refining Matte Primer. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go in with one of these two. I recently busted out the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I love this stuff. Or I'll go in with the Marc Jacobs Invisible Undercover Perfecting Coconut Face Primer. So I'm going to go ahead and get those applied to the face, and then we'll come back on and we will get started. Alright, and because it is a stick foundation, like I mentioned in the last video, my Sephora stick foundation review, I will be doing my entire face with a brush because I typically don't like stick foundations with beauty blenders or any type of beauty sponge. Actually, that looks a little yellow. Whenever I just swiped it, because it actually applies a lot of product, whenever you swipe it down, it almost feels like it melts into the skin like right away. So that could be a really, really good thing. So I'm going to take the Morphe M439 and then I'm just going to kind of buff this into the skin. It's blending out pretty easily. I think this color might be a little too yellow. All right, you guys, that blended out so nice and so easy, and the coverage is really nice on this as well, I think. But that is pretty good coverage, and it doesn't look nearly as drying on the skin as last week's foundation upon original application. It blends really easily and effortlessly into the skin. This is nice. I think it's because like it works really well with the heat of your skin, like the warmth of your skin, to where it almost like melts the product. I don't really know how to explain it, but when you like put it on, it just feels like it's melting into the skin really nicely. I've been getting these really bad breakouts right here, and I'm not sure why, but I like that. That is a pretty good coverage. It's pretty close to full. I did apply a decent amount of product on, but it looks nice on the skin. It blends so easily. I did switch my brush really quickly because I wanted something that felt a little bit more dense. And then I'm just kind of patting it into the skin. I think that looks pretty nice on the skin, you guys. It says that it has a powdery finish. It doesn't appear to be super powdery on the skin. I think it looks pretty good. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm not going to apply any more to the skin because I'm kind of happy where it's at. Let's see, blend it out a little more on the chin. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to go in with the concealer next, but I'm only going to put the concealer underneath one eye, and then we're going to see how the concealer wears throughout the day. And I am going to use my finger. Ooh, that is super creamy. I wasn't expecting it to be so creamy. I barely tipped my finger in there. Okay, so I guess I will go ahead and use it under both eyes because I don't want to waste. That's a pretty decent amount of product and I don't want to waste it. It feels a little thick. I'm going to go ahead and start to blend it out with the finger. It says peach. It doesn't really look peach to me. It looks more yellow. Let me go dampen my beauty sponge. I haven't done that yet, but it's not really blending super nicely. So let me go get my sponge and I'll be right back. So I've got my damp beauty blender and I'm going to try to blend out the concealer a little bit better with the sponge and see what happens. That's a little bit better with the sponge. It looks a little drying underneath the under eyes though, so hopefully you guys can see it. Under this eye, the concealer looks super drying. I'm kind of regretting putting the concealer on because now it won't blend. Okay, that's a little better. So far so good with the foundation. I kind of like it. I don't think I'm going to like the concealer. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of my makeup off camera and then I will be back. It is currently 12 o'clock, so I will be back in just a few minutes, you guys. Alright guys, and I am back. It is now about 12:30 and I like the foundation. I think it's really nice. I think it looks really good on the skin. It gave a really nice high medium. I definitely could have gotten this to full if I wanted to. We still have a little bit of redness right down in this area, but I decided not to build up the foundation anymore. But I definitely think had I gone in with more, I probably could have gotten a lot more coverage out of the foundation, but I had already applied a lot and I didn't want to go in too heavy. There are certain areas, I do think that the foundation looks really, really good on the skin. There are certain areas on my skin that are a little bit drier than others, and I feel like in those areas, it does look a little bit drier, but overall, I really like this foundation. It doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel cakey, it doesn't feel too much on the skin. It doesn't look overly powdery either. It says that it has more of a powder finish. I don't think so. I think it has a really nice, natural, really pretty finish. But like I said, there are certain places where my skin is a little bit on the drier side, where you can kind of see a little bit of clinginess to those dry patches. But overall, I'm really impressed by the foundation so far. The concealer I do not like at all. It did not cancel any darkness. When I went to go put up my hair, I checked in natural lighting and it is just gray underneath my eyes. I didn't apply anything else or anything extra because I wanted to see how it would wear on its own. The concealer is probably going to be a no-go for me, but the foundation itself I'm kind of impressed with. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in and let you see how everything is looking, and then I will of course check back in throughout the day. Okay guys, so here we are a little bit closer up. Hopefully you can see how dark my under eye still look. The concealer, I didn't get a lot of sleep, to be fair. I only got about 4.5, 5 hours of sleep, so I went to bed pretty late and I woke up pretty early, so I'll cut it some slack. The foundation looked like it was definitely going to be way too yellow, but I think once it was blended out and everything was applied to my skin, I do think it looks pretty decent. You can see where I was mentioning where there's still a little bit of redness and still a little bit of those breakouts peeking through right here. It's like I just noticed that part of my skin looks a lot lighter than the rest of it. Let me see. Like maybe the foundation didn't blend. I do have powder on, but let me just try to see. Okay, yeah, the foundation is a little bit too, the color now when I'm looking at my neck, the coloring on the foundation is a little bit off. Overall, I don't really have a lot to complain about. I think it looks pretty decent. I've mentioned in the past, stick foundations can be harder to blend, but that blended really, really well. So we're gonna wear it, of course, throughout the day, and I will check back in with you in a little bit. Bye, guys. I'm just kind of in my house right now. I ran a couple of errands earlier in the day, but for the majority of the day, I've been at home editing and doing a little bit of cleaning, folding laundry, all of that fun stuff. So this foundation has not been through like the most rigorous of tests that I would normally put a foundation through as far as going outside and things like that. It is 5:26. I've had the foundation on for about 5.5 hours at this point, and I think it's holding up pretty nicely. It has not oxidized. I am starting to notice in a couple of areas right here, especially in like my chin area, where things are starting to get a little bit oily, but even with that, it's not producing too much oil. One thing I will say, I feel like it did not dry down to a powdery finish though, so that's the only thing I have to say. I feel like my bronzers, my highlighters and stuff are fading kind of quickly with this foundation. My under eyes are atrocious. I do not like the concealer at all. I would not recommend it for the concealer, but I feel like if you're spending that much money on a foundation, the concealer is more of a, you know, an added bonus and not necessarily a reason to purchase kind of situation. So, I mean, I don't think that it's sinking into the fine lines too bad. My pores are not overly exaggerated. Nothing on the face looks bad. It doesn't feel drying. It doesn't even feel matte on the skin. I think it's a pretty decent stick foundation. It's definitely, I don't know that it's a favorite as of right now. Of course, I have to wear it for a little bit longer, but it's definitely knocking out some of the other stick foundations I have tried. Like, I think I like it better than the Tarte stick foundation. I like it better than the Sephora, the Anastasia. So if it's not a favorite, it's definitely not gonna be my least favorite. That is kind of where I'm at right now. So not bad, nothing too negative to report. So yeah, you guys, I'll check back in with you in a couple of hours to kind of let you know my final thoughts. And yeah, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye guys. All right guys, and I am back. It is 10:44. I've had this foundation on for probably about 10 hours now. So as the longer that I wear the foundation, the more powdery it got throughout the day. Don't mind right here. I had my glasses on earlier because my contacts are bothering me, so it kind of left indentions in my foundation. So kind of don't worry about that area, but I do think that the longer I wore the foundation throughout the day, the more powdery it got. Like, especially in the areas where my skin is a little bit drier. Like, I'm kind of looking in those areas right now, and it does look like I have a lot of powder on the face. It's not a foundation that I would probably recommend for dry skin. If you have maybe more oily to normal, this might be a good one. Coverage held up pretty decently. I don't like the concealer. Like, my under eyes sometimes get really, really watery throughout the day, and the concealer left like this weird, I don't know what this is right here. It's wanting to like get dry and flaky underneath my eyes where my eyes get watery. And a lot of my favorite concealers I don't have that issue with. My forehead is definitely looking a little dry and a little powdery, and the foundation is kind of missing in this area a little bit, and it has definitely gotten like a little bit more dry and powdery in this area. My cheeks seem fine. My nose looks a little bit dry as well. So I'm not obsessed with it. I liked it, but I think that it's wearing off really, really weird. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can kind of hopefully see what I'm talking about, because a lot of times when I tell you what I'm kind of seeing, it doesn't really translate that well onto camera. So hopefully it does. So like all right here, you can see hopefully where it looks super powdery, and in these areas right here, like all right here, like it's starting to look more of like a powder finish. Hopefully you can see it on my forehead as well, that it's looking a little powdery up there and a little dry in those areas as well, a little bit flaky. So I think that if you have a more normal to oily skin, this foundation would be a hit, like a complete knockout of the park for you, because I do like it, I was looking for a mirror. I lost it. There it is. I do like it, but I just don't think that my combination skin is the best suited for this foundation. So I know that if I was a little bit more oily, it probably would have worn a little bit better throughout the day. Whereas my dryness, I guess, just got a little too intense for the foundation, and it just kind of started to get extremely like that powdery, cakey look on my personal skin. I don't think normal or oily skin would have a problem at all. So it's actually a foundation that, for me, I'm going to play with a couple more times, maybe go in with a little bit less foundation than I normally do, because I did apply a ton. So it's not one that I liked it. I like the coverage. I like the finish early on. I just think that maybe my skin might be too dry for it, but then at the same time, normally by now at 11 o'clock, I would have more than likely wiped my makeup off by now. So, because I sat down and started filming at like 11, I think, maybe 12. So I think that it held up pretty well. It was pretty good through my check-in. I did powder today as well, so that could be something that has to do with it as well. Maybe this is a foundation that I wouldn't necessarily need to powder, since it's supposed to dry down to a powder-like finish. Let's just say that I liked it enough to continue giving it a shot. One thing that I did like about this foundation, I will say that it did not settle into my smile lines as bad as some other foundations. So that's super impressive on this foundation's part as well. Overall, if you have the skin type for this foundation, I think you would actually really like it. It's just not one that's good for my skin. And normally I'll look in the mirror and say, you know, at the end of the night, I always say I either really don't like it or I really love it, or, you know, I just don't think it's a good foundation. I think that this is a good foundation all in all. I really do. As far as the stick foundations are concerned, it's still not my absolute favorite, but it is definitely, there are ones that I would consider a lot worse than this. So out of all of the stick foundations that I've tried, I would probably rank it in the top 5. And I've tried a pretty decent amount of high-end stick foundation, so I would rate it in the top 5. It wasn't anything to blow my favorites out of the water, but it definitely was nowhere near as bad as some of the other ones that I've tried. So all in all, I think it's pretty decent. I think it could have been worse. And I know you guys are probably looking at it like, girl, you look a mess. I do have a drier skin that can get a little bit oily throughout the day. So this foundation might not look the best on me, but again, oily skin, I definitely think that it is worth checking out. Dry skin, stay away from. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it did not oxidize. It didn't settle too badly into fine lines or wrinkles, which is also really, really amazing. It blended really easily onto the skin. It provided really nice coverage. The concealer, again, is a bust, but all in all, I would give this foundation 2 thumbs up if you have the right skin for it. Pretty much anybody other than dry skin, basically. But I definitely would say if you're oily and you're looking for a good stick foundation, check it out. It might work out for you. But at this point, I'm just kind of blabbing on and on. Excuse the hair, you guys. I'm ready for bed, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring this one to a close. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you did enjoy this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye, guys.